game where every decision you make could impact an entire galaxy? If yes, then let me introduce you to Voidfall. Voidfall is a strategy game in which you become the ruler of houses to help save the universe. And in this presentation, we hope that you may find this game interesting enough to check it out for yourself.
Alrighty, so here are our main points that we're going to talk about in our presentation today. Why did we choose this topic? What really went into us, choosing this topic, and how did we land on, and how did we want to present this to you today? Background, give a quick background on how the game was made, etc. Then the setup, how to set up the game, how to play with your friends. The overview, basically just giving you a rundown of how the game is actually played and how does it work. How to win, because, wouldn't be a game without winning, so you want to know how to win the game so you get a little bit of competition. Different versions of the game, just really talk about how this game was really branched out and how it is still branching out to this day. Takeaways, just some things that we want you guys to learn from this presentation, and then also our works cited page. Alrighty, so why did we choose this topic? So while we were going down the Board Game Geek Top 100 list, there was a lot of games that really sparked our interest. But as we went down, we saw this game called Voidfall. Now, 2 weeks ago, this game was ranked 96th on the top 100 list, and then a week later, it was ranked 95th. So this game is currently on the rise, as you can tell by its ranking going up. So, in reality, we just felt like since this is a new game, it would be cool to introduce the game. Considering that this game was first published in 2023, which will be talked about in the later slides. We felt like just bringing this game to life and, possibly introduce it to newer players that are in the board game world. And as you can tell, it's on the rise. I mean, being that it went up a spot in just a week time span, it is gaining traction, as you can see. But, a lot of people probably are still not into the board game hobby and maybe have not heard this game. So we just really want to bring this game to life and introduce it to the audience today.
Alright, so I will be going over what the creators wanted the game Voidfall to look like and play like. The game Voidfall was released in August of 2023. One of the game developers, Nagel, has worked for many years on his dream of creating a Space 4 game that is playable in a reasonable time frame. His journey on this path began around 2005, when he started to design a game that would become Omega Centauri. Another game designer who helped create Voidfall is David T. David T is a well-known designer in the board game community. Before Voidfall, he gained a reputation for games with deep systems and systematic thinking. I will now be moving on to the core design for Voidfall, which includes deterministic combat, which means no dice, tight decision making, and minimal randomness. Now I'll be moving on to the game's artist, Ian O'Toole. The artist of Voidfall is a professional illustrator and graphic designer based in Perth, Western Australia. He has over a decade of experience in commercial art, working in various styles including traditional, digital, and even 3D visualizations and animations. Moving on to the Mindclash Games. Mindclash Games was founded in 2013 or around 2014. As a publisher specializing in thematic, medium-heavy Euro-style board games, aiming for games that combine mechanical depth with rich story/world building.
I would like to give you just a quick overview on the game of Voidfall. Voidfall is a strategic sci-fi board game where each player leads a house trying to restore order to a collapsing galaxy. The main threat is the Voidburn, a corrupting force spreading through space, and your goal is to rebuild your empire, push back the corruption, and earn the most prestige by the end of the campaign. Each Voidfall is broken into three main phases. The focus phase, in which players choose a focus card to perform actions like expanding, improving their economy, researching tech, or fighting off threats. This is the heart of your strategy. The crisis phase, where the galaxy pushes back, events trigger, the Voidburn advances, and corruption spreads. This is where you deal with the consequences of your choices. Lastly, there is the cleanup phase, where players reset their boards, gain income, refresh cards, and prepare for the next round. A very complex game to set up, so I tried to simplify it down as much as possible. To set up, first you will place the galaxy tiles in the center of the table according to the scenario you're playing. These tiles will form the map where all players will expand and interact. Next, each player chooses a house board, takes their matching tokens, ships, and player markers, and then sets up their starting sector as shown on the scenario card. Then, place the Voidburn threat tokens and corruption markers on the galaxy tiles, where indicated. These represent the main enemies and challenges you'll be dealing with. After that, you'll set up the central supply. Shuffle and place focus cards, arrange resource tokens, and set out the agenda and event decks. Make sure everyone has their starting focus cards and starting resources. Finally, place the round tracker and select the difficulty level and give each player their starting civilian and military fleets. Once everything is in place, you're ready to begin. The game starts with the first player taking a focus action.
Okay, in this section, I will be going over how to win in the game Voidfall. Your goal is to earn the most victory points by the end of your final cycle, while managing your house, expanding your domain, and resisting corruption from the Voidborn. You score points in several ways. First, you gain Empire victory points by developing your sector's buildings, advancing technologies, improving your population, and effectively producing resources. You also score by completing objectives, which give points for achieving specific milestones such as controlling sector types, mastering technologies, or optimizing fleets and infrastructures. Combat and map presence matter too in the game. Defeating Voidborn enemies earn points, help you reclaim sectors, and reduce the threat that can cost you points later. Maintaining strong sector control with high stability and low corruption prevents victory point penalties, and can even generate bonuses across the game. You'll balance economic growth, military strength, and corruption management. Corruption causes point loss and can undermine entire sectors. Finally, in different game modes and player interactions can give additional scoring opportunities. Finally, at the end of the game, you add up points from sectors, focuses, infrastructure, tech, crisis outcomes, and leftover resources. Then subtract any corruption penalties. The player with the highest final score wins, rewarding efficient empire building, strategic combat, and careful corruption management.
Alrighty, so different versions of the game Voidfall. So while we were looking up this game, we saw that there's a little versions tab on BoardGameGeek.com. So we clicked on it, realized there's a lot of versions to this game. So we really thought, which ones can we really, focus on and put into this slide here? So we had the Chinese edition and the Spanish edition. Now, what's the difference? Language editions, the game originally came out and only in English. So they wanted to obviously expand the game, so they really, added more languages to it and was like, you know what, the people that maybe don't understand English, give it out to them, see if they really like the game. Also improve sales, so I mean that's really smart on their end to do that. But also we have Galactic editions. What's the difference? Galactic edition has all the character DLC packs, while the original game only has 7. So you're really only paying to get more characters, to pay a little bit more to get more characters. So, if you want to have a lot of variety by any means, go with the Galactic Edition. But if you want to keep things simple, get the original, save a little bit of money, and, I feel like you'll still have a good time playing this game. And then also the picture that's shared on this slide here is a Chinese edition. We just felt like that it would be cool to put on this slide to really share you guys like what's the differences of this game. Alrighty, so some takeaways from this slideshow today. So, we want you guys to fully grasp the idea of how the game is played. It was really, really difficult to try to get, all this information into these slides. So we really wanted to, take the little bits and pieces and, make them into a good slideshow. So we really hope that the information we did give you was enough to, possibly, maybe play the game in the future and stuff like that. So that's where the second point comes in. And then the third point, maybe possibly get you guys into the board game hobby, before taking this class, I wasn't very, into board games. I played board games, of course, in my life, like Monopoly and the Game of Life. But after playing these games that were given in class, I really, enjoyed the board game hobby now, and maybe I will buy Voidfall for Christmas because reading up on it was very, very cool. We just really hope that you guys get into the board game hobby. Alrighty, so here is our works cited page. These two links right here is where we got our information from. If you check on BoardGameGeek.com, it will give you more of a rundown of what we didn't cover because a lot of the information that we got, it was so much, so we tried to just take bits and pieces of it and then put it into this presentation right here. So these two links right here are going to be very, very good if you want to possibly learn up on the game and stuff like that. And then it will also show you the ranking. As we said before, it was 95th rank, and then you can check, clicking that first link, that you can check and see what other games are ranked and stuff like that. And then it'll also show you, like, as for example, the different versions we didn't get to, and all the like expansion packs and stuff like that. But yeah, that is our project, and I hope everybody that listened enjoyed our presentation.